try that again. Very useful. What do you think? Look pretty good? Being that we're gonna flush tweeter in. Yikes. Okay. We roll with the punches. Just because if it does break, might as well catch it on film. That's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna be converting this two-way component set into a three-way component set by keeping the 6.5 down here. We're gonna relocate the tweeter to the pillar. He wants them facing towards each other. And then we're gonna add a 3 into the sail panel that's gonna be aimed up towards the middle of the headliner. The way the system stands now, there's an Alpine media server that's going to a Helix M6 amplifier that's running a two-way set of Infinity components up front, and then some JBL coaxes in the rear. And then there's a monoblock Helix M1 running the sub. What we're gonna add today is an M SIXDSP, which is a 6-channel amplifier with a processor built into it. We're gonna run it with a conductor, which is a controller that'll allow us to change from one preset to another. And then these JBL 3-inches. He wants all of the EQ to be done through the Alpine radio, so all we're gonna do on the processor is time alignment and crossovers. Well. What do you think? Look pretty good? One of the side effects of Class D amplifiers becoming so popular and having the smaller form factor fitting in the vehicle is that some companies have started to work DSPs into them. So you have a full working processor inside of the amplifier which basically cuts down the need for signal cables between the processor and the amplifier. It's really hard to screw it up. One of the cool things, and one of the things that I've really liked about these, is they started adding in extra channels of processing. So you can use more channels in the DSP than the amplifier has. So this has 6 amplified channels and 10 process channels in it, which means you can use an adapter like this and get 4 more process channels out of it, which we're gonna use in this setup to feed to the other 6-channel amp. This allows the other amplifiers to get processed outputs without having an additional DSP. We're also putting a conductor in, so we gotta put the cable in for that. So not only is the signal out gonna be really good, but because this has the processor built into it, we're able to use the optical output from the Alpine unit into this guy directly using a fiber optic cable. I believe it's a 10 mil. Is it deep enough? It's deep enough. So I've had the honor of taking these speakers out a few times. So these pillars have the built-in vent right there, and being that we're gonna flush tweeter in, I'm gonna remove this, and the defroster that defrosts the side of the windows is gonna be gone. So we're gonna mold up for the tweeter, fill that in, resurface it, paint it, and then, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So I think I have replaced these speakers twice already. And though we're not replacing them again, we're adding a 3 and just moving everything around. In order to fit these tweeters in here, I had to pull this little sub piece out of this to mount them in. And then we've tried a couple of different tweeters over the last year. Got real familiar with taking these in and out. very tight fit in here. It's the longest screw in the world. It really pays to have tools like this. Something where you can take, I mean, this is a cheap little, I think I got this at AutoZone, maybe. But socket on this side, you can stick a bit in that side for screws. It's a compact 2-in-1 tool. Very useful. Now from these tweeters, to get them to flush into the pillar, I'm gonna use the mounting ring, fab that in, and then the tweeter will just mount and lock in like factory. Not much room at all. All right. All right, that's illuminating. See, it's just, I mean, this comes out, but it's only, I mean, I get maybe 1/4 inch out of this, you know. Yikes. Okay. Yeah, so cutting in is not gonna get us a lot. We roll with the punches. One of the challenges with modifying these sail panels that go all the way around, they bend when you put them in. So when you put body filler on there and then primer it and paint it and all that kind of stuff, bending it can crack that primer off of there and then it looks like crap. So we've got to be real careful and try to feather it as much as possible in this area. So then you can bend all this and it's fine, and then, you know, got to work with what you're given, you know? Gonna make a couple of copies of this in expanded PVC. If I can find a piece. There we go. It's lightweight and it will machine and connect to all the fiberglass and filler and stuff really well, so that's kind of what we go for. You gotta turn power on, bro. Ay, ay, ay. Let's try that again. All right. Put some tape on it. I don't even have my knife on me. Whoa. See me get hit in the face with that? It's rude. See how nice and clean that is? So nice, so nice. So I think I've decided, because of the way that this grill goes on here, and we want to try to keep it as compact as possible, because it's a sail panel and not a pillar is bad enough, but having a sail panel be huge is a problem. So yeah, what I think I'm gonna do is taper this in just a little bit to go flush with the speaker. That way I can keep it smaller and it'll all look flush. Oh yeah, I can still be in there, right? Hold on. Oh no, okay, so this sits a little bit more flush without this little inner ring in here. I mean, it looks cool. And I guess you could stick it on whenever you want if you decide you don't want the grill and it looks finished. But yeah. Yeah, so I think what I'm gonna do is just taper this in. Also, on the off chance that he decides to change these for other speakers, they'll be able to fit. Because if I countersink this in here and put this little edge on there, then it'll be exactly the size of this speaker. And then if he changes the speaker for a different one, then it's gonna be less likely to fit in there. So I think there's pretty good reasons to top mount this as opposed to flush it in. We got a plan. I think that'll work. Something like that. Yeah. All right, so I gotta see how this is gonna fit in here. So this guy is going in the sail panel, which is pretty small. We can get a little bit of depth out of that, and trying to get it aimed up towards the dome light in the back here. So I'm gonna cut away here and kind of see how much room and how much I can flush this in, because the more I can flush it in, then the less volcano-like it will look. One of the challenges with modifying these sail panels that go all the way around, they bend when you put them in. So when you put body filler on there and then primer it and paint it and all that kind of stuff, bending it can crack that primer off of there, and then it looks like crap. So you've got to be real careful and try to feather it as much as possible in this area. So then you can bend all this and it's fine, and then, you know, got to work with what you're given, you know? One of the habits that I've learned over the years is that if you mock things up before you actually start doing the structural part of it, you make fewer mistakes and things are lined up a little better. So here I'm making the initial structure on the inside of the ring, because I know I'm not gonna use that in the end. I just want it to be good enough to hold as I bend this piece out of here, and we don't lose this awesome aiming that we have going on. We came here for the aiming, right? These are aimed up at the dome light, which is pretty much in an attempt to put the speakers equally off axis to the driver listening position. Because the more equally off axis they are, as opposed to your passenger side being directly at your ear and your driver's side going the opposite direction, you point them both in a direction that are kind of equally at the same angle, left to right. So acoustically, it kind of puts them on even footing, right? Oh, that looks so good. So artsy. Arts and crafts, arts and crafts. When Lizzie used to work for me, we used to say arts and crafts, because that's what this is, right? All right, wish me luck. It's flexible plastic and very brittle, hard glue. Therein lies the challenge. Oh, yo! That was a close one. It held together. Look at that. Now if we can just not break it from here to there. All right, we're 1 for 1 so far. Can we do 2 for 2? That would be nice, huh? I don't like wasting our time. Ooh. I see a little bit of... Oh. We got it. Stay together, stay together, stay together.